Mrs. Troen runs a speed dating organization where she has these speed dating event weekends. And I found out through friends that this year she would be including LGBTQIA persons in this event for the first time. So being gay, I decided to contact Mrs. Troen and ask her whether or not she thought there would be a big enough crowd to justify going to the event.
And this is a popular event?
Yes, it's a popular event.
You'd heard about it?
Yes, I heard about it. I was aware for the last several years that it existed, but I was aware that it was only for heterosexuals specifically.
So, Mrs. Troen, you had been doing this, producing this speed dating event for how many years?
A total of 7 years, 2 years off for the world being closed.
Yes, COVID, yes. We were all closed.
Yeah.
So you wanted to make sure that you also could accommodate LGBTQIA, and what was your process in that? Did you advertise? What did you do?
Yes, I spent over $10,000 in targeted advertising, both online and in print.
Do you have receipts for that?
Yes, it's in the evidence.
Let me see it, please.
Thank you.
So you spent money in advertising.
Yeah, spent targeted money in advertising. I always spend money in advertising, and the event generally has about 500 people. And this year's event had 650 people register. And I do believe a large portion of that was the almost 75 people who registered specifically from that community that we were making a new outreach to. And I was pretty proud of that.
How much does it cost to participate in the speed dating event?
It's $300 for the full weekend of 2 days, 4 different sessions, 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches.
Okay, so $300. And so, Mr. Miller, tell the court why you decided this type of event was right for you.
Well, given the fact that she was now including persons of diversity along with heterosexuals, I thought it would be a good opportunity to meet a large number of people in a short amount of time. And I actually contacted Ms. Troen prior to the event to make sure that, this was going to be an event where there would be an adequate number of persons that would be available for me specifically. And
all right. And what was her response?
Her response was in writing that she expected 150 persons from LGBTQIA's community to be represented at the event, and that she guaranteed in writing that I would be pleased with the selection available.
And do you have that writing?
Yes.
All right. I'd like to see that.
Thank you. Sure.
So do you remember this conversation, Ms. Troen?
Yes, and I believe if you look at the email, it'll say that I guarantee he'd be pleased with the event and not with the selection specifically for him.
Here's the email here. I'm thinking about coming to your event. I saw that you're advertising to the LGBTQIA plus community for the first time. And you're wondering how many people from this community are you expecting? You said you'd love for him to attend. You've spent over $10,000 advertising, and we're expecting over 150 participants from that community alone.
That was our estimate at the time, yes.
All right.
That was prior to the event.
I guarantee you'll be pleased. Then I see a follow-up email where you say you had an awful time. So tell the court what happened when you went to the event.
Well, a lot of things happen. Unfortunately, the event itself was very poorly managed. The way that the participants were organized in the event was poor. The event itself was confusing, and it was just
confusing in what way?
Well, initially when I arrived on Saturday, I went in with a large group of people into the main ballroom area, and I was there for several hours very confused because I kept getting paired up with straight women. And as soon as I would tell a woman that I'm gay and, I think I'm in the wrong place, obviously they weren't interested, so it was a waste of time for both of us. I had a really difficult time finding any event organizers to help figure out what was going on. I kept looking. There was a huge line because I don't think there were enough people staffing the event. I don't think they expected the number of people that was there, and so you couldn't get information. And halfway through the day, I finally got a hold of somebody who was like, oh, you're in the wrong room. So you have to go into this other room down the hall, and so I did finally...
How are people notified which room they should be in, Mrs. Troen?
With a very clear map that is presented when they check in at the check-in table, when they first arrive in the morning.
And did you present that map in your evidence?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor. The map clearly shows where they are at the check-in table. It shows a straight path down a hallway, and you can either turn to the right or to the left.
Your Honor, that map
is
completely inadequate. The hotel looked totally different. The hallway you had to go down to get to where the LGBTQIA persons were supposed to go was enormous. It was dark at the end. It was so confusing.
It's a very simple map of right or left.
It was very confusing.
So when you stepped into the room, did you ask immediately, am I in the correct room, or you just assumed you were and you were just following the map and you went and sat down only to later realize that you were in a dating pool?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed that there would be, persons from different genders there, but I didn't think that everyone around me was part of the heterosexual group and not the other one. And it took a long time for me to figure out that I was in the wrong place because I couldn't ask any questions. There was no one there who really knew what was going on.
Well, this is odd.
What stands out for me immediately is that the organizer was operating from the assumption that people would self-navigate with the information given. And he was expecting, since he paid the $300, that he would have more guidance, more structure, more ease. As you know, that gap creates a lot of modern customer conflicts. People underestimate how fast confusion creates frustration, specifically in social environments. Even more so when someone already feels out of place or uncertain walking in. Every small inconvenience feels 10 times bigger emotionally. And also the map becoming part of the lawsuit is kind of fascinating because it shows how people process information. Because to the operator, and also to me, it looked like simple directions. And like him, another person may see stress, dark hallway, crowds, and be experiencing a sensory overload. Because people don't experience environments objectively. They experience them through their emotional state in that moment. There's also a subtle pride factor here. A lot of people will wander around for hours without asking for help because they don't want to look lost. And then later that frustration gets redirected at the event itself. I think human beings are weirdly allergic to admitting confusion in public. Let's get back.
Because she says she's been doing this for 7 years, 2 years off from COVID. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like a business or an event could last this long and be this disorganized. Was it disorganized, Mrs. Troyan? Were you struggling that day to find help or something? Why is Mr. Miller saying his experience was that there was just a lot going on and not enough staff people?
Your Honor, you're correct that the event has been successful for all 5 years that I have been able to present it. It's a joy for me to present it. I was excited to expand it because it is a growing event. And I would hazard a guess that maybe he didn't look at the map. I know a lot of people when they come in are nervous. And if you walked into the wrong room and got flustered, I mean, that would contribute to having a negative experience, but that's not an event management situation.
And how long are you in this room? How long are you in the room before you realize I'm in the wrong room?
I was there until that lunchtime on Saturday. I was there for hours.
How were you in the room for hours with a whole bunch of straight people and didn't know it?
Well, I was just standing around a lot of the time waiting. I assumed at some point somebody was going to organize like...
So you never did speed dating in there?
No, I didn't.
You all were just standing in a room for hours just talking?
Yeah.
Did you realize that, Mrs. Troyan?
No.
He says he wasn't even speed dating.
Your Honor, he said earlier that he met multiple women.
Well, he said he met one woman and that woman was heterosexual.
Yes, and he told her and she moved on. But he said earlier just now that he spoke to multiple women in that room.
I spoke to people trying to figure out what was going on, but that's not a speed date. I was trying to figure out where I should go or what I should do. There were other people that were there that were confused as well. So.
And, Your Honor, there are multiple room monitors in both rooms at all times, and the front desk is always staffed.
You never saw a room monitor?
I never saw anyone who could answer my question. I asked somebody...
But, Ms. Troyan, I mean, why would he come somewhere if he wasn't lost? I mean, what benefit is it for him to stay in the heterosexual room?
That's what I can't figure out. I don't know why he would waste 2 hours there. We have a continental breakfast beforehand. There's 2 hours in the room. Then there's a lunch. And then there's 2 hours back in the room again. So there's 2 sessions of speed dating with a lunch break that's also a socialization opportunity.
So within that first, there's 2 opportunities to speed date within that first time.
Within the Saturday.
But within the Saturday. 2 opportunities. And during the speed dating round, it lasts about how long?
Each one is 5 minutes, But if people are kind of feeling a connection and want to continue that connection,
but it's a speed dating, so you're doing 5 minutes and then you switch. 5 minutes and you switch. But he's saying he was in this room standing around for 2 hours and never did any speed dating.
Your Honor, I think he may have removed himself from it at that point. I don't know. The event has always been that everybody is in the rotation and doing the thing unless they remove themselves from the rotation to pursue a connection that they made.
I did not remove myself. I was there. I was attempting to get information. The map, as you've seen, is pretty inadequate. It's not really a map. It's just a flyer.
You are a grown man, Mr. Miller. If you walk into a space and you are there for 30 minutes and you're confused, I mean, a reasonable person in that circumstance, especially a person that ultimately is going to bring somebody to court for $300, that person would have also walked around and said, excuse me, am I in the right room? Excuse me, what room I'm supposed to be in? Excuse me, I need to find an organizer. Excuse me. You would have figured that out.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have stood there for 2 hours and you say you didn't go on a date for something in the water ain't clean. It ain't making sense.
Yeah. And Your Honor, I would just like to add, there were hundreds of people there. It was very disorganized. It was very confusing for me to know even who to go to ask for information. There were other people.
So nobody wore T-shirts. They didn't have lanyards that they were a part of the staff.
They have name tags and a lanyard, yes.
There was people at the front, at the entrance, but there was an enormous line of people, I'm assuming like me, who were also confused and didn't know exactly where to go or what to do.
Did you walk over to that enormous line of people and say, hey, are you guys in the wrong room too? Are you confused?
I went over to the line, and by the time I got into the line, eventually I saw somebody, and I asked, hey, do you know what's going on? And they're like, yeah, there's another room down this hallway, way down at the end, and that's where you're supposed to go.
And did you have physical signs, not just on the map, but did you have like signs how they do at conferences where there's the arrows and then the arrow points here and they tell you where to go?
And on the ballroom doors, yes. Yes, Your Honor.
What in the world is going on here?
So what I'm starting to pick up on is that this has a little bit less to do with the event itself and more to do with avoidance. Because with all the information that the organizer is giving, the natural question is, how can you stay confused that long like the judge is asking? And honestly, this is where social anxiety and pride can create a bizarre combo. Some people would rather malfunction in a room for 2 hours than risk asking one awkward question, which could be more intense because they were in a dating environment where they may have already felt evaluated. Another thing that stands out, though, is how passive people can become when they expect an event to carry them socially. So the speed dating sounds structured, but it looks like it still requires initiative. So you still have to ask and clarify and move and participate and engage. Let's find out the verdict.
So, Mr. Miller, I do need you to, and you didn't have any occasion to have an affidavit, or I see there's no witness, to somehow substantiate this claim that this event, basically you're saying that this event did not function in the way that was advertised and you did not get the benefit of your bargain.
Well, that's true, Your Honor, but that's only part of the story. So the other part of the story is, for the second day, I did arrive at the correct location once I figured out where it was. And I encountered a number of other problems. First of all, there were only 73 participants that fell into the LGBTQ category out of the 650 total that were there. When you further delineate that amongst gay men seeking other gay men, there were only 22. So there were only 22 gay men seeking gay men in this entire event for us to, interact with.
So you felt like, from what she had described, that they had 150 registered,
right?
That the 73 that were there and then the 22 men, that was just not sufficient.
Right. And I would just say, if a straight man showed up there and he only had 22 straight women to choose from out of 650 persons, I think he would be in dismay too. And that's kind of how I felt. I felt a little bamboozled by that.
And so, Mrs. Troen, when you're thinking about that, do you have a registration process? Are people registering and you're basing your count and your expectation on who registered? Or are you just making a guess based upon past events as to how many people? You mean, you said to him...
From the email, you mean?
Yes. Are you just making an educated guess, or was this based upon registration at the time?
So we didn't have all the registration at that time. It was based on kind of a statistical projection, looking at the last time we invested that amount of money in targeted advertising, the percentage increase we had.
But didn't you say this was the first time you made sure your event included LGBTQIA?
Yes, I've done previously. So the first year, there were far more women than men. And so I did more targeting advertisements to try to get the balance better for the next year, because I would love to have a balance of, equally divided between everybody.
So when Mr. Miller said to you, I did not enjoy myself, I didn't get the benefit of my bargain, I paid my $300, there were only 22 people there for me to potentially meet, your response was?
I was trying to understand what went wrong for him, because I didn't have any other specific complaints about the weekend, from the other 649 registrants.
This is the issue here. You are saying that basically Ms. Troyan didn't give you the benefit of your bargain, that you did your due diligence to call and make sure that there were going to be plenty enough people from your community that you would like to date, and you don't feel like enough of them came.
Yeah.
Now, Mrs. Troyan, I need to ask you this one last question. Can you give him a 50% discount? Can he come back to another event for $150?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Would that be amenable to you?
I mean, based on how chaotic things were, I don't have much hope for it, but,
all right.
I'm
going to give you one more chance. Do you want to go again and pay $150? It's up to you, because I'm about to rule with or without it.
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine. All
right. The plaintiff's case is dismissed. Judgment for the defendant, with the understanding that on the next round of this speed dating event, you will have to pay $150 instead of $300 to enter and have a chance to meet more people. Are we clear?
Yes,
Best of luck to you. Court is adjourned.
So was it really bad organization, or was it his expectations versus math? In the end there, he was mentally counting the 650 people total, even though in that email she said that she was expecting 150 people from that portion. So I don't think it's fair that he tried to mentally count the 650 people. They were never realistically part of his dating pool anyhow. Another key thing before we get to our big life lesson is his hesitation at the end to take that deal. At some point, people stop wanting a solution and start wanting validation that they were wronged. Those are two very different motivations, and it looks like he was the latter. Now, our big life lesson. A lot of disappointing experiences come from expectations people created in their head instead of expectations that were actually guaranteed. So let's do better. Ask questions sooner instead of waiting for things to magically fix themselves. Now, my final question for you. Do you think this event organizer handled things fairly, or would you have wanted your money back too? Put your answers in the comments below. Make sure to like, follow, and share. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon.